Hello students. So welcome to another session by Anuj Singh, that is my name, and on behalf of IQ Civils IAS Academy, I welcome you in another session of geography. Okay. Now today I am going to take a very different topic before we move ahead in the syllabus of geography. Today I will be taking UPSC answer writing techniques, okay, UPSC answer writing techniques. Now that is very crucial because ultimately if we are able to write good answers in the UPSC mains examination, we score really well, and that gives us almost a guarantee of getting an interview call in the UPSC examination. Okay. So UPSC answer writing very crucial, and I consider it the most crucial part, even slightly more than the knowledge of individual subjects, because UPSC answer writing technique is not about only one subject, but it spans across all the subjects. Okay. It spans across all the subjects, and that is why it is very imperative to understand how should we write good answers in UPSC. Okay. So this is the first session of answer writing. We will certainly talk about multiple techniques today, and in the future sessions also, in between the sessions of geography, I will be taking answer writing techniques in little more detail. Okay. So let us get started. So the topic today I will write as UPSC answer writing techniques. Okay. Answer writing techniques. Now see, UPSC has undergone a lot of sea change, in the last 5 to 7 years, and the presentation of the answers, the manner we write the answers should be such that we are able to convey to the examiner that we are ultimately aspiring to become an administrative officer. Okay. So such answers involve a very powerful introduction which gives a bird's eye view of the topic to the examiner, conveying that you know a lot about the topic, and certainly it includes another major dimension, which is the conclusion. Now conclusion has to be very powerful, solution oriented or recommendation oriented, because it gives another dimension conveyed to the examiner of UPSC that you are able to bring about some solutions pertaining to any topic, any topic, and that is what is demanded of an administrative officer when he or she takes charge after getting selected. Okay. So why not convey that to the examiner in the mains itself, that you are a very appropriate candidate of UPSC. You are certainly very well qualified to serve as an administrative officer, and certainly you will bring about lot of growth and development in the country once you are appointed as an administrative officer. Okay. Now there is a small challenge which lot of people who are writing UPSC they face, is that they are not able to separate out the academics portion with the UPSC. Now people might think that if they are good in academics and they have done well in college, certainly they have a very good chance, but along with that it is required that you portray such a mindset to the UPSC examiner that he or she thinks that you are a very suitable candidate to be appointed as an administrative officer, and the only way we have that to convey to UPSC is through answer writing. Okay. Now answer writing has most importance, keeping in light the point that through this you will get an interview call. Okay. And when we talk about the mains examination, it is divided into two parts, as many of you might be knowing. The first part is the written examination, which is of 1750 marks, including general studies and optional subject, and the second portion are the personality tests which are conducted now after the mains examination. Now personality test or interview is basically 275 marks. So when you total the mains examination score, we are talking about 1750 plus 275 marks, that equals 2025 marks. Now, out of this 2025 marks, if 1750 is the weightage of written examination, we are nearly talking about 75 to 80% weightage of just the writing exam. And people who do well in the written examination, despite their interview or personality test going average, they still are able to make it to the final merit list of nearly 800 students. And if they are able to make it to the final list, it is more because of the written examination, less because of the interview score. But certainly scoring high in the interview will get you to the top ranks. But the most basic thing is that if you are not able to qualify the written examination, there is no interview call. Okay? So, we need to understand the maximum importance of answer writing. Okay? And if you are able to inculcate that kind of techniques into different subject answers, we certainly score consistently in every subject, including the optional subject. Okay? So, let us get started today with UPSC answer writing techniques. Now, the foremost thing to understand first of all is that there are three kinds of deliverables which are required by UPSC in the mains examination. Okay? Number one is the essay. Now, essay is the first paper of UPSC mains examination. It carries a total of 250 marks. Okay? And out of these 250 marks, there is an equal division in 2 essays. Okay? So, you are required to write 2 essays here, each carrying 125 marks. Okay? So, 2 essays. Now, the requirement of words is also stated by UPSC, and they require your essay to be written up to 1250 words. Okay? Up to 1250 words. That means not more than 1250 words. However, when we talk about an ideal essay limit is 1000 words. So, if you are able to complete your essay along with introduction and conclusion and the body in 1000 words, that is considered most ideal. So, 1000 words in 2 essays, and that will make it 2000 words, which are required to be produced in 3 hours. Okay? So, the exam duration is 3 hours. That is number 1. Okay? Now, number 2 deliverable is a 250 word answer. Okay? 250 word answer. Now, a 250 word answer appears in all the 4 papers of general studies, not in essay, because essay has 1250 words, and also it appears consistently in both the papers of optional subject. Okay? Now, 250 word answer is basically, let us say for example, if I take the example of paper 1, okay, paper 1 of general studies. Now, this includes 3 subjects primarily. One is geography, second subject is history, and the third subject is Indian society. Okay. Third subject is Indian society. Now, combining these 3 subjects, you get a total of 20 questions. Okay. You get a total of 20 questions, and out of these 20 questions, 10 questions are required to be written in 250 words. Okay. And the remaining 10 are required to be written in 150 words. Okay. That is how it is, and this is consistent across the different GS subjects. Okay. Paper 1, paper 2, paper 3 and paper 4 as well. Okay. And so, from here we can simply say that our third deliverable is the 150 word answer. Okay. 150 word answer. Okay. So, basically when we talk about the GS papers, apart from the essay paper, 10 questions of 250 words and 10 questions of 150 words required of you to write in every GS paper and optional paper. Okay. Optional paper might have some deviations, they might have little less questions or more questions depending upon how they have set the optional paper. However, strictly in the GS papers, this 250 word answer and 150 word answer are the only deliverables. Okay, and we cannot undermine the importance of GS papers. There are 4 papers and each paper carries 250 marks. So, certainly we are looking at 1000 marks just devoted to general studies except the essay paper. Okay. So, 3 deliverables, this we need to understand before we move further. Okay. Now, if we know that there are 3 deliverables, then the first thing which I will discuss today is how much time we should allocate towards writing each of these deliverables. Okay. So, the first topic of today is time management. Okay. The first topic is time management. Okay. How do we manage time? Now, this is most crucial because until and unless we complete each of the UPSC papers, essay paper, 4 GS papers, it is very slight that you will get an interview call. It is in fact out of the question. So, the first thing we have to focus on is that we complete all these papers, and if we complete the papers, then we are producing an effective candidature towards UPSC for our selection. Okay. Now, time management. So, what I will do in time management is I will make one table, consisting of 3 columns. Okay. 3 columns. Now, the first column is the essay. Second column is 250 word answer, all right, and our third column is 150 word answer. Okay. Now, starting with essay. Okay. So, as I said, 2 essays of 125 marks each, totals 250 marks, and the duration given is 3 hours. Okay, 3 hours. So, that means one essay has to be completed in 1.5 hours, which is 90 minutes. Okay. And we have seen earlier that if we produce a 1000 words essay, that is more than sufficient. Please understand one thing and always remember this: UPSC prefers candidates who are able to convey more through less words. Okay. Or in other words, I can simply say that they appreciate good writers, good effective writers. Now, a good writer is a person, is a candidate who can produce in less words more content. Okay. So, that means you have to have good set of administrative vocabulary in your answers. You have to have a sense of good sentence formation, wherein you are not repeating the content in multiple sentences. People tend to do that because they think that their first sentence, if they have wrote and they want to convey some topic, it was not sufficient. So, they write again in different words. However, the content which is delivered to the examiner is the same. So, instead of that, why can't we write one sentence, one powerful sentence which conveys what we wanted to convey? Basically, it's a link of your thoughts with your pen. If your hand-eye coordination is good, or if your hand and mind coordination is good, then you are able to translate maximum thoughts into your answers and sentences. Okay. So, 1000 words more than enough. It is a concise essay, very good essay, including introduction, conclusion will give you maximum marks. Okay. Now, 1000 words are required to be produced in 90 minutes. Okay. So, that is the equation. However, we will teach you a technique here, which is called brainstorming after time management, in which you will learn that apart from writing the essay, it is more important to strategize the content of the essay. It is more important to basically make ready or strategize what you are going to write in the main essay. And this brainstorming is a self brainstorming. You do it with yourself, you do it with your mind. And that technique requires that when you are writing an essay, you just devote 45 minutes towards writing the actual essay. That means you are basically producing 1000 words in 45 minutes. And what about the rest 45 minutes? Now, the initial 45 minutes, they go into strategizing, they go into strategizing, which we will deal with after learning time management. Okay. Now, if you have to write 1000 words in 45 minutes, that means the calculation says that in 1 minute, you are required to produce 22.2 words, or approximately 23 words you are required to produce in 1 minute. Always remember this calculation. Always you should remember that if you are not able to produce 23 words in the mains examination, in the essay, and you will see this is the same in 250 word answer, this is the same in 150 word answer itself, because the time which UPSC allows you does not help you in writing less words. So, if you write less words, certainly you are not able to complete the paper. So, 1 minute 23 words, okay? That is what is required. Now, what is 23 words exactly? They are equal to 2.5 sentences, okay? 2.5 sentences. So, I assume that on an average a candidate will write 8 to 9 words in one sentence, 8 to 9 words in the second sentence, and half of the third sentence, the third line will complete your 23 words, okay, 23 words. So, 2.5 lines in a minute, but 2.5 lines if you practice at home in a minute, they should be practiced in such a way that you are thinking and writing at the same time. They cannot be copy paste from a newspaper or from a magazine that you think that you write 2.5 lines, and if they are completed in 1 minute, that should give you the target. No, it will not. So, 2.5 lines are those lines which you are writing on your own without any source, which you are writing with thinking and then translating those thoughts into your sentences. So, thinking and writing takes time. It is not something which you can write very rapidly. So, what I want you to do today is when you close the session, after it is over, you should take a pen and a paper and think about any topic, and produce 2.5 lines, and then see whether you are able to produce those 2.5 lines in 1 minute or not. Okay. So, this is about essay. Then 250 word answer, a 250 word answer. Now, as I told you earlier that there are total 20 questions in your every GS paper. Out of those, 10 questions are required to be wrote as a 250 word answer. Now, the weightage of marks given to a 250 word answer is 15 marks, okay, 15 marks. So, that means in 10 questions, if you have to produce an answer which is each 250 words, then you are producing 2500 words, but in how much time? That is the question. So, if the total duration of the paper is 3 hours, which is equal to 180 minutes. Now, can I say that you have to produce 2500 words in less than 3 hours, because you have to write a 150 word answer as well. You have to write many 150 word answers. So, 2500 words devoted to 250 word questions, and then you have 150 word 10 questions as well. So, 150 word multiplied by 10 will give you 1500 words additionally to be produced in the remaining 10 questions. So, that gives me a total of 2500 plus 1500. So, 4000 words are basically required of you in 180 minutes. So, what I am calculating here is the time you will get in producing each 250 word answer. So, if we solve it, if we solve this, what we get is 112.5 minutes. So, that means 10 questions of 250 words are required to be written in 112.5 minutes. So, each answer, then how much time do you get for each answer? You get for each answer 11.25 minutes. Is that sufficient? Now, when you divide 250 words with 11.25 minutes, it will again come down to 23 words per minute approximately, okay, 23 words per minute. So, you see it is the same thing, it is the same as the essay. So, 250 word answer 11.25 minutes, and in 1 minute you are approximately writing 23 words, okay, if you intend to complete the paper, of course. Okay. Now, when we go to a 150 word answer, okay, now how much time do you have left? Now, if you have written 250 word answer initially, which is basically recommended also, because long answers, if they are finished first, then you are pretty relaxed in your mind to complete 150 word answers as well. So, the leftover time for writing 150 word answer becomes 180 minus 112.5. Now, this is basically 67.5 minutes. So, for writing 10 questions of 150 words, how much time you are ultimately getting? 67.5 minutes. To write one answer, then you get 6.75 minutes for a 150 word answer. Again, if you divide 150 words by 6.75 minutes, again the calculation is the same. It boils down to the same word limit in 1 minute, 22.22, and I approximate it as, I round it off as 23 words per minute. Okay. So, 23 words per minute is what you are looking at, and this is consistent across the essay and the 250 word answer and also the 150 word answer. So, basically you have to remember couple of things from here. Okay. Now, number one is 1 minute is equal to 23 words. Number two is for a 250 word answer you are getting 11.25 minutes, and for a 150 word answer you are getting 6.75 minutes. Okay. This is very crucial. Okay. So, I hope this is clear, and we have to master this art of time management if we really are wanting to get a personality test call from UPSC. Okay. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, if this is clear, we will move ahead to the second part of today's session, which is strategizing for an essay and also strategizing for a 250 word and 150 word answer. Okay. So, initially we will begin with the essay. So, I will write the topic as strategizing for an essay slash 250 word answer slash a 150 word answer. Okay. Now, the strategy, the most important part. Okay. So, the equation says that in an essay you have to produce 1000 words in 90 minutes or 1.5 hours. Okay. Now, what is the first step you do? Now, whenever an essay paper is given to you, there are in total of 8 topics. Okay. 8 topics are there. Now, in group A 4 topics, group B 4 topics. Now, out of 4 topics in group A you have to choose one, and out of 4 topics in group B again you have to choose one topic. That means you are writing 2 topics out of a total choice of 8 topics. Okay. 8 topics. So, the first thing which becomes extremely crucial is selecting a topic wisely. You have to select a topic wisely. Okay. Now, since you are shown 4 topics, you have to choose that one topic which resonates with you the maximum, जो आपके दिमाग में सबसे ज़्यादा अपील करता है, आपको वही टॉपिक चूज़ करना है। अब ये तो पहली बात है कि जो सबसे ज़्यादा अपील करता है। सेकेंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज़ दैट you have to choose that topic in which you are in a condition to produce maximum diversified points, because UPSC appreciates diversity in an answer. It never appreciates a monotonous character of an answer in which you are delving upon 3 to 4 points and then you are continuing to explain those only. So maximum diversity, again maximum marks, okay? Maximum diversity of points, maximum marks. So first thing, the topic which resonates with you, which appeals to you the maximum, and also the topic which can give you maximum diversified points. Now, so that's why I will write the first step of essay as selection of the topic. Now, how much time should you devote to selecting a topic? Now, I say you should devote the first 5 minutes easily. Don't be in a hurry. There's no need to be in a hurry. You have good amount of time. We will show you that even if you are spending the first 45 minutes in just strategizing, we will show you that you have enough time to write the essay. Okay? So first 5 minutes, the topic should continuously go in your mind. It should flash from one end to the other, and on top of that, you should be able to visualize the kind of paragraph content you are going to write. And if you think, yes, this is my topic in which I can produce 15 to 20 points, then you can go ahead. Okay, you can go ahead. So selection of the topic has to be given the first 5 minutes. Okay. Step number 2, after you have selected the topic, the foremost thing required is not to write the essay. The foremost thing required is that you go for self brainstorming. You go for self brainstorming. अब ये क्या होता है? What is this self brainstorming? Self brainstorming is done using pen and your paper, the rough side which is given by UPSC, the rough side of your answer sheet, and this is the technique which involves translating or converting millisecond thoughts which are coming into your mind after you have read the essay topic, and immediately the thought has to be written in your paper. So, I will define it as translating. Please have a look very closely at the words I am using here, millisecond thoughts. It's not even 1 second, because many times what happens, because you have read so much, you have already cleared prelims examination, there's so much content going into your mind. For example, on any topic you might have read 10,000 words, but those 10,000 words on that topic then in the essay are required to be produced in just 1,000 words. Just 1,000 words, it's 1/10. So, you have to organize in such a manner that effectively with powerful sentence formation and good set of administrative vocabulary, you are able to write a very powerful 1,000 word essay. Okay? So, translating millisecond thoughts with pen, this is very important. We cannot just think about those content in your mind. That will not give you a good strategy, because once you start just thinking and not writing on your rough side, then that point you will tend to forget after 10 minutes. Okay? So, translating millisecond thoughts with pen onto paper immediately. Immediately का मतलब है that you do not allow that thought to escape from your mind. You do not allow. That is why this is a very intense and a very specific exercise, that you take care of every word which I have written here, translating millisecond thoughts with pen onto paper immediately. And this has to be done with lot of urgency. The moment the point comes, it should be on the paper. The moment the second point comes, again on paper. So, that ways you will have multiple points, and how to organize those points we will see now. So, self brainstorming, first of all, how much time should you devote? Okay? I would say ideally you should devote the second 20 to 25 minutes towards self brainstorming. Now you are saying, okay, this is too much time, you might think in your mind, but it is not. This is the mother core of your entire essay. This will give you and your essay the beautification you are looking for to get maximum marks. Now, what do you do in these 20 to 25 minutes? Now, the self brainstorming is divided into two parts. Okay, one is the theme, other is the content. Okay, first is the theme and second is the content. Now, we need to understand what is the theme and the content in this context. Now, let us say you are writing a 1000 word essay, and let us say you boil down to every paragraph with 50 words. You write every paragraph with 50 words. So, if you are writing every paragraph with 50 words, how many such paragraphs are required to be written? 50 multiplied by 20 will give you 1000 words. So, 20 paragraphs have to be produced, including introduction at the top and conclusion at the bottom. That means introduction plus conclusion plus 18 more paragraphs. And what is ideal? That those 18 paragraphs should have some diversified content from each other. They cannot be repetitive, they cannot be two paragraphs just throwing light on the same point ideally. In some instances, you might require some content to be produced in 2 paragraphs, okay, but at the max 2, but that could be an exception, that is always welcome. Okay. But apart from that, the ideal condition is that you are writing 50 words, every paragraph is unique, and that is why you need to get 18 unique paragraphs in the body plus introduction and conclusion. So, theme is the main implicit thought process behind a paragraph. The implicit means that you do not have to write the subheading of individual paragraphs. So, it is implicit. The theme will automatically be conveyed to the examiner when you are writing the paragraph. And when the theme is automatically communicated, there is no requirement of subheading. And please do not think that if you write 18 subheadings, the examiner will be impressed, not at all. It becomes very monotonous, it does not look good as a presentation. Okay? So, theme means the implicit thought or the implicit content of a paragraph. That means a paragraph can have one subheading, it could have one topic, but within that theme there could be 2-3 points which you are producing in the content. So, theme is the larger thing, it is the implicit heading of the paragraph, and content is the points which you are producing in that paragraph. Okay? So, theme and content. Now, let us see how we are using the self brainstorming technique to produce theme and content. Okay? Now, the foremost thing which you have to remember is that when you are starting self brainstorming is that you have to come out with multiple themes. Okay? So, let us say the first 5 minutes you brainstorm, means you are sitting upright on the chair in your examination hall, and the first 5 minutes you say, okay, I will point down urgently with immediate action the millisecond thoughts onto my paper. But this is a theme brainstorming right now, we are not getting into content. So, theme brainstorming, let us say in the first 5 minutes you are able to come out with 7 to 8 themes, meaning that you now know that your 7 to 8 paragraph implicit headings are ready. Okay? So, you can do like this, let us say theme 1, theme 2, theme 3, theme 4, theme 5 and so on. The first 5 minutes, but do not think about the content right now. The second 5 minutes, what do you do? Now, since you have brought down 7 to 8 themes, you have translated those millisecond thoughts with pen onto your paper. Now, you must think about the content, okay? Think about the content within those paragraph themes. So, second 5 minutes have to go in strategizing and penning down the content of these 7 to 8 themes. So, let us say, how do you do that? Let us say you have a theme 1, you write 3 to 4 points, okay? Theme 2, you write again 3 to 4 points, and likewise you produce for the remainder of 5 to 6 themes. But please remember, in the second 5 minutes you are just producing the content in the themes which you have already penned down in the first 5 minutes. You are not thinking about future themes. Now, this is very crucial, because the moment you are not organized in your thoughts, I am telling you, you will not be able to produce maximum diversity in your essay. So, second 5 minutes strictly you have to just pen down the content of the themes which you have already jotted down in the first 5 minutes. Okay? So, you have done this. Now, third 5 minutes, what do you do? Third 5 minutes, you again come back to the themes, because still you have to come out with 9 to 10 themes more, minimum 9 to 10 themes more. Okay? So, again you come out with additional themes, and this time your mind will be working little faster. Why? Because you have already devoted the 10 minutes to theme plus content, and once the points start coming into your mind, the remainder of the points, the additional points also come faster, they don't take much time. So, let us say in the third 5 minutes you have come out with 10 more themes, okay? 10 more themes. So, that is great, that is a great going until now. Now, you have come out with 10 themes, okay? So, the fourth 5 minutes, what will be required of you is to come out with the content on these 10 themes, okay? Come out with content. So, I will say additional content, okay? Additional content, the 10 themes which you have produced above. So, similarly, how do you do it? As stated above, okay? Let us say it is T9, T10, and then you come out with 3 to 4 points which you think you will write in that particular paragraph. Theme is the paragraph, it is the implicit heading of a paragraph. Within the theme you will have multiple points, okay? And so on. So, T9, T10 and so on. Let us say you have gone to T17. So, you will jot down points under theme 17 here, just in the same manner as you have done in the second 5 minutes. Okay? This is done. Now, how much time is completed? You have already completed, you have spent 20 minutes. Okay? You have spent 20 minutes. You can take 5 minutes more. Okay? This will give you the additional content. Now, the last 5 minutes are required, basically, so that you can produce the theme of your introduction and you can produce the theme of your conclusion, because 17 themes still cover the body of the essay only, okay? And maybe you have covered some introduction theme earlier or some conclusion theme or both, okay? And if you have done that, then you can produce 2-3 more themes. But if you have not done that, now this is the time to produce the theme of introduction and conclusion. So, let us say come out with T18, T19, okay? Let us say, okay? And if you got some additional thought, you can also come out with T20, okay? This will be easy, because now you have become an expert, because you are already producing very urgent content here, with very rapid working of the mind. So, T18, and this time you will do the theme plus content exercise together. Well, now you are an expert, you know how to produce themes and content. So, last 5 minutes will wind up your self brainstorming exercise. Okay? I will give you an example. Now, let us say the topic in an essay is desertification around the world. Okay? For example, desertification around the world. Now, desertification around the world, the foremost thing you would like to think is that in which continents deserts are present, which are the affected countries, could be theme 1 of your essay. Second could be what are the causes of these desert formations, what could be the causes. You will divide your causes between natural factors and anthropogenic factors. Anthropogenic means human induced. For example, deforestation is a big human induced factor which ultimately converts a place which was not a desert, but now it has become a desert because we have removed lot of trees and thus the region has become a barren land. Okay? Always remember, desert is not a place which is just sandy. Desert is a place which is also without sand, it is just lacking in water supply. It does not have water, it does not have rainfall, it does not have groundwater. Okay? So, desertification is a much bigger topic. So, in your second theme you must be thinking about the causes, natural factors and human induced factors. In the third theme you might think about, okay, let me now just pinpoint those continents in the world and those countries in the world where rapid action has been taken to restore our environment. Rapid action has been taken to restore the desert back to the normal state, with lush green trees. So, you might think of, okay, so some steps are being taken by United States of America in the Californian desert, some steps are taken by Mexico, towards the Sonoran desert in the western margins. In Atacama desert also, Peru, Chile, they are taking some steps. In India, government does a lot, to improve the living conditions and livelihood in the desert prone regions. For example, they do lot of irrigation projects in Rajasthan, southern Punjab, okay, parts of southern Haryana as well. Okay. So, you are coming out with those themes. So, this is what brainstorming is. You are coming out with themes, but now right now I am just telling you that, but when you do it, you will just have the pen on your paper and you will continuously write down the points which are coming in your mind in a very fast manner, okay, very fast manner. So, last 5 minutes will complete your brainstorming exercise. Okay. Now, the beautiful part of the brainstorming is that by the time you have ended the 20-25 minutes, you are ready with maximum diversity of points. You see here, if you have done it in a very efficient manner, as I have told you, you will get 18 to 20 themes and you will also get within those 18-20 themes, you will also get the content. Isn't it beautiful that in the first half an hour itself, what you have done, two things, selected a topic wisely, and secondly, on that topic you have come out with 18 to 20 paragraph themes along with a detailed content. You will be amazingly happy that now I have the firepower with me, the ammunition with me to write a very good essay, but you are not still writing the essay, that is the beauty. Now, after step 2, you have nearly exhausted 30 minutes. So, first 30 minutes complete, okay, complete. We are still left with 15 minutes before you write the actual essay. Remember what I told you, 90 minutes you get to write the full essay, first 45 minutes strategizing, next 45 minutes writing, okay. So, 30 minutes complete, 15 minutes left. So, what do you do in the 15 minutes? Now, step number 3 is conclusion writing. Conclusion writing in the rough space. In the rough space. It is not the fair conclusion yet. Now, you must ask me one question, that why are we brainstorming on conclusion writing before introduction writing? The simple answer is that once you have thought about and translated those 18 to 20 thoughts onto your paper, you have so much content floating into your mind. So, as per the organizational rule, the organizing rule, what you need to do is you need to stop somewhere. You need to have a thought in your mind that I am going to stop somewhere. And what is the ultimate stop? Stop is the conclusion. Once you have identified that this is the end, this is where I want to end my essay, automatically in the next step you will come out with a very good introduction. Okay? So, once you have a lot of thoughts in your mind, once you have 20 odd themes in your mind, and within those 20 themes you have 3 to 4 points of content, that means you have around 60 to 80 points floating into your mind. You need to convert one of those themes into a powerful conclusion. वो आपने लिख लिया, वो आपने कर लिया. In the theme 18, 19, 20, in the last 5 minutes you have come out with content and theme on conclusion and introduction. But what is required here? Just to make an actual conclusion, just to write an actual conclusion. So, how much time? You take 4 to 5 minutes in concluding your essay, but still in the rough space. Okay? Now, importantly, how do you write conclusion? That is very important. Okay? Conclusion has lot of importance simply from the point of view that this is the last paragraph which the examiner will read before giving you marks. Before scoring you on the essay, this is the last paragraph the examiner will go through. It's very, very important. This is the last impression. And if you are in the shoes of the examiner, if the last 4 or 5 lines are little amazing, are little out of the way, the examiner has not seen in previous answer sheets, will not the examiner be tempted to give you extra marks? Definitely yes. Definitely yes. Okay? You might have written an average essay. He might have already thought about the marks to be given to you in his mind, but the moment he reads the conclusion, the examiner says, wow, this person has given me some solution or recommendation on the essay which I was looking for in other answer sheets. And once you have given that, you can easily fetch additional 5 to 10 marks. Okay? But the rules of writing conclusion are very crucial. Rule number 1, a conclusion is either a solution oriented conclusion, okay, solution oriented, or a conclusion is recommendation oriented. Both almost mean the same. Okay. Now see, solution oriented or recommendation oriented, why? Why do we require to write such a conclusion? Because ultimately you as a candidate are aspiring to become an administrative officer. So, there is always an opinion which is expected of you whenever the examiner is reading your essay, and if that opinion, that personal judgment and decision does not come out towards the end of your essay, then it becomes incomplete. Meaning that, ultimately you are producing a candidature for IAS or IPS, but your conclusion is not powerful enough to convey to the examiner that you are a good candidate to become a future officer. That's why. Okay? So, solution oriented or recommendation oriented. Now, there is one more conclusion which is futuristic. Okay? Futuristic. Now, what is futuristic? Now, see, there could be some topics which you can find in UPSC examination, where solution or recommendation might not be possible, but that topic is very unlikely, but still I will introduce you to futuristic conclusion as well. Now, suppose there is a topic on plate tectonics. Now, plate tectonics is basically the study of the earth movements, the large movement of the plates on the surface of the earth, both land as well as ocean. And this theory was postulated by Harry Hess and his associates in the early 1960s. Okay? And this theory practically says that the movement of tectonic plates, whether it's land or ocean, is inevitable. It has happened in the past, it will continue to happen in the future, and it's certainly happening in the present. But plate tectonics theory focused more on the reasons behind the movement of land and oceanic plates. So, what they found out was the internal forces which are coming from the asthenosphere, which are emanating from the asthenosphere, which is the uppermost mantle, they are responsible for movement of plates on the crust of the earth. Now, why? Because the asthenospheric material exists in a molten state, and if it is moving, definitely because of the dragging effect, it will also cause a movement in the land or the oceanic plates. Okay? So, let us say you are writing something on plate tectonics, you are talking about earth movements and the related impacts. Okay? So, in this case, you cannot really provide a solution oriented conclusion. You cannot really provide a recommendation oriented, because it is beyond the powers of any government, certainly beyond the powers of any officer in the government, certainly beyond the powers of continents. They do not have control. If the plates are moving, this is mother nature. If they are moving today, the asthenospheric material will continue to move these plates in the future as well. So, the conclusion is futuristic. And what is a futuristic conclusion? That the shape of the earth which is seen today by us, the placement of the continents will change in the future. They are moving, the shape of the continents was different in the past, it will be different millions of years in the future as well. So, what we see today, the position of North America or South America, or let us say Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, it will not be the same in the future. Neither the shape of the continents will be the same, neither their placement on the surface of the earth will be the same. It is beyond our control. If it has to happen, it is inevitable, it will certainly happen. So, that is where a futuristic conclusion comes into play. Okay? So, either you write a solution oriented or recommendation oriented or futuristic. Okay? But in some cases, there could be a blend of futuristic and solution oriented. Okay? Now, rule number 3 says that conclusion is never a summary or repetition of the body of the essay. It is never a summary or repetition of any point from the body of the essay I am talking about, apart from introduction and conclusion. So, it is never a repetition. Many people think that they have written a lot of points in an essay. Now, why don't they summarize those points in 2-3 lines? Big mistake. Never ever do that. Okay? It is never a summary. It is never a repetition. The moment you repeat, you are wasting your words, and the moment you waste your words, examiner notice, deduction of marks. Okay? Rule number 4 is that an introduction is never factual. So, no facts. By facts, what I mean is, you cannot include percentages like 20%, 10%. You should not include years 1985, 1964. None of them are recommended. You should not give examiner a new point to ponder upon. You should not surprise the examiner. And because you have given the new point, you cannot conclude that point because you are already in the conclusion paragraph. So, never ever write facts in a conclusion, and moreover never ever write a new point. Okay? Never. So, what should we write? So, that is our rule number 5 of conclusion, which says that a conclusion is always subjectively analytical. Okay? A conclusion is always subjectively analytical. subjectively analytical, or you can say qualitatively analytical, but not quantitatively analytical, not number wise, but you should produce such sentences which gives an analytical view of your essay in the conclusion. Okay, I'll give you an example of a very good conclusion. Okay, don't worry about that. So, rules are clear. Either a conclusion is solution oriented or recommendation oriented, or it could be futuristic. It is never a summary or repetition of the points in your body of the essay, and neither it is factual. You cannot include percentages, years and so on, but it should be highly subjectively analytical, means analytical without numbers. Okay? So, 4 to 5 minutes you do in doing that. Okay? Now, after we complete the entire strategizing of the essay, I will give you a sample introduction and conclusion. Okay? Sample introduction and conclusion. Hope the strategy of writing a conclusion is clear. Now, you are done with the first 35 minutes of essay. So, 35 minutes completed. Okay? Step number 4 is introduction writing. So, after you have written a good powerful conclusion in your rough space, what do? You write an introduction again in the rough space. Okay? What is introduction? People call it opening line, certainly yes, but what is the content? What is the content? Number 1 rule of writing an introduction is that you should always include keywords of the topic, or the question. By question here I mean a 250 word answer, 250 word or a 150 word answer. Okay? Topic here symbolizes essay. Okay? Now, keywords are very important. Now, when you are writing, let us say on desertification around the world, what are the keywords? There are only 2, desertification or deserts, and the other keyword is world or global, one and the same. Now, keywords does not mean exactly the same words, but definitely there could be some another form of similar kind of words. Okay? So, keywords of the topic / question, why it is important is that simple reason that examiner should always be impressed by the way you are writing a sentence, in the sense that you are still sticking to the topic, you are always glued to the topic. No matter what you do, you cannot deviate from the topic. Deviation of topic, again deduction of marks, again marks will be cut. Okay? But keywords of the topic or the question make you glued to the topic, and it captures the imagination of the examiner as well, that from the first line itself this candidate is right on dot. The candidate has written exactly what was required. Okay? So, desertification around the world has 2 keywords, desertification and the world. That should come in the first sentence of your introduction itself. That is rule number 1. Okay? Now, rule number 2 is similar to conclusion, introduction should again be never factual. Again, avoid writing percentages, years, etc. So, कहने का मतलब ये है that in your introduction's first line, you should not present something which is ordinary. Now, when you are writing years, you write percentage, you tend to present something to the examiner in a sentence form which is a fact. Now, why would you like to open an essay with a fact? You will never like to do that. Okay? So, never factual, and similar to the conclusion, it is also subjectively analytical or qualitatively analytical. qualitatively analytical. Now the purpose of introduction. Purpose of the introduction is to give the examiner a bird's eye view of what you are going to produce in the essay, bird's eye view, capturing some important points which you are going to write in the paragraphs in your body, some important points, you cannot write all. So the introduction should be concise, complete in itself, giving an examiner a picture of yours that you know a lot about the topic. This is called the first impression, and if first impression is so strong, already the examiner is there in your essay mentally, and if you have captured the imagination in the first 3-4 lines itself, then you are making sure that the examiner is going to read the entire essay. And that means the more the examiner reads your essay, the more interest he or she shows in your essay, the more the marks you are going to get if you have written a good essay. First impression equally important as the last impression. We cannot avoid the first impression. It's very, very crucial, subjectively analytical. Now, the second or third sentence of an introduction should capture summary of extremely important points, summary of extremely important points to be written in the body of the essay. Extremely important points we are talking about here. Okay? So that is crucial. Now that gives the examiner a hint that you have a lot of knowledge about the topic. You are going to give him something, which he was or she was expecting. And once you show the examiner in the initial introduction itself, it increases the interest of the examiner by multifolds. And if the interest of the examiner is increased, definitely you have captured the imagination, and certainly you are now on the path of getting high marks. Okay? Are these points clear? I am sure. Okay? So we have to keep in mind, whenever we are writing an introduction, we should follow strictly the rules, and if we do not follow the rules, we tend to write a very ordinary introduction, very ordinary conclusion, meaning that a very ordinary opening of the essay, very ordinary ending, leading to ordinary marks, despite of the fact that you have written amazingly well in the body. But if you have made your opening very weak and your ending also very weak, then 10 to 15 marks are lost. They are deducted by the examiner. Okay? I hope the rules of introduction are pretty clear. Okay? Now you have done this. Okay? Again, you have spent 4 to 5 minutes, similar to the conclusion. So once you have spent 4 to 5 minutes now, so the total time which you have completed is 40 minutes. Okay? You have completed 40 minutes now until step number 4 of rough introduction writing. Now step number 5. This is the golden time. Step number 5 is the golden time because now you are writing the actual essay. Finally, you must be taking a breath of respite. Okay, finally now we are doing something concrete. But please students, always remember this, that this is the important part certainly, but इससे भी ज़्यादा जो important था वो अभी जो हमने 40 minutes में किया वो था. The exercise which we have done in the first 40 minutes is more important because now it has given you the firepower to write a very good essay. So what do? Write the actual essay, go for it. Write introduction again, write the body. You have everything at your disposal. You have already done the theme based brainstorming, you have done the content based brainstorming, you have 18 to 20 themes, you have 60 to 80 points. Now you must be raring to go. You must be raring to write a very powerful essay. आपके हाथ ऐसे चलेंगे जैसे कि आप सोच भी नहीं सकते. It will go very fast. And 23 words per minute is not a challenge at all. Once you have organized the essay in your mind, it is organized on your rough side, it is not very difficult now to translate with a very fast speed in your actual essay. Okay. So, how much time? 40 to 45 minutes easily. Okay. This can even go up to 50 minutes, because writing the essay very crucial. 5 to 7 minutes additional will not matter much. Okay. So, 50 minutes you have written a very good essay, writing at a speed of 20 to 22 words per minute. Okay. And this is the most amazing essay you have ever written in your life. But please do not write this essay straight in the examination. Practice this technique at your home as well, multiple times. 15 to 20 essays you should write before you go into the mains examination. Okay. Amazing. So, how much time you have spent? Let us say you have taken 50 minutes. So, now already you have spent 90 minutes. Okay. Or let us say if you have taken 45 minutes and you are left with last 3 to 4 minutes, one last thing which is remaining, is polishing or reviewing the essay. Now, this is also crucial. Now, you will say, sir, I have done a lot of things and lot of brainstorming, lot of essay writing. Now, why is it required? Now, this is also very crucial. Why? Because when you are writing with a very fast speed, 22 to 23 words per minute, and you are producing essay, with 18 to 20 diversified themes and 60 to 80 diversified content, certainly there could be a mistake. Mistake in terms of a spelling mistake, there could be a grammar mistake, there could be a vocabulary mistake. You wanted to use some word, but that time you could not recollect that word and you have just substituted that word with some ordinary word. Now, you go back, you read the essay very quickly, and you suddenly remember that word, you have a chance of replacing that word so that examiner does not find any kind of mistake in your essay. It's as simple as that. Many times you are writing a full sentence, in your mind you are thinking you have written the full sentence, but somehow you just drop the sentence in midway. That could be a mistake. A slight spelling mistake could be there. Slight grammar mistake could be there. So, why don't we rectify that mistake? Why we give examiner a chance of deducting 5 to 10 marks unnecessarily? It was already in your mind, but because you were in a flow of writing the essay, that mistake happened. Okay? So, we will avoid that. We will give the examiner everything so that the examiner can give you very high marks. Okay? So, polishing / reviewing the essay, 3 to 4 minutes it will take, it will not take much time when you are reading your own writing with a very fast speed. Okay? But polishing / reviewing will give the essay a very good completion. It will take care of any of the 3-4 points which you have made as a mistake, and it will rectify that, and it will ultimately end a very good written essay. Now, tell me honestly, you must be thinking in your mind a lot of things here, but once these things become your practice, they come into your practice and you make this a norm rather than something abnormal, you make this a norm, do you not think that you have produced a very, very powerful essay here? 18 to 20 diversified points, amazing. UPSC hates being monotonous, they do not like monotonous deliveries, they do not like monotonous answers, they like diversity, social aspect, political aspect, administrative aspect, environmental aspect, legal aspect, all included. So, UPSC will certainly be impressed, and if they are impressed, the examiner is impressed, I will tell you, with this technique our past students have managed to get 140 to 150 marks out of 250 marks. This is also a possibility, but provided you imbibe the technique, you follow the technique very honestly, not missing any point whatsoever. Okay? So, this is possible, and this is possible only when we are technically sound in our mind, and this technique will be applied to any kind of topic. It is a geography topic, history topic, social science, whether it is science and technology, economics, environment, any kind of topic. This technique is supreme. It will bring out an essay which you have never imagined before. Okay? So, please practice this technique, follow the points and today itself write an essay so that you know the power of this technique. And I will tell you that there is certainly a lot of power. It can give people 50 to 60 marks additional in an essay if they write an essay without a technique. 50 to 60 marks, you can imagine. It's of utmost importance in UPSC, and that too in the mains and the interview. On 1 mark, there are 10 candidates in the top ranks. So with 50 to 60 marks, you can be ahead of 500 to 600 candidates. That is amazing. Suppose you are getting a 600 rank, but you wrote a very powerful essay, you have got 68 marks additional, 600 people will be behind. Will you not be in the top ranks now? Certainly yes. Okay? All right. I hope the technique is clear. So let me give you very quickly a sample introduction and conclusion. Okay? I will take the same topic, desertification around the world. Okay? So that's the topic. Desertification around the world. Okay? See, one more thing I would like to tell you here, that always understand that whenever UPSC comes out with a topic, whether it's an essay topic or a question topic, always remember that there is a reason, there is a context. UPSC will not judge a future officer on something which is not irrelevant to an administration. They always judge a candidate based on what is relevant for a government functioning. Okay? So always try to understand that if they have given the desertification around the world topic, what is their intention? Simple intention, that desertification is increasing. We are continuously and consistently devouring our environment. We are doing a lot of damage. We are cutting trees. We are doing deforestation without paying heed, first of all, that this land will convert into barren land, and also at the same time the faunal and floral species of animals and plants which were living there, they will ultimately be vulnerable, and after being vulnerable they will ultimately go extinct. If we are doing such activities mindlessly, is it not the job of the government to bring back and restore the environment as it was given to us? It was given to us by Mother Earth in a very pristine state. Okay? So the desertification topic, if it comes in UPSC examination, the simple intention is to draw your attention as a future officer towards this problem. Okay? And then to expect a solution out of you which sounds like a solution which has been given by an officer. Okay? So desertification around the world, introduction. Look at the introduction very carefully. These are powerful sentences and words. Okay? Now see, I will start with this word itself. Okay? I will say desertification globally is produced by natural factors as well as anthropogenic as well as by anthropogenic intervention. This is a powerful sentence. Okay? Now you see, when I say natural factors, what is a natural factor? Absence of rainfall is the most potent factor in producing a region which is a desert. Natural factors, absence of rainfall है, desert बन गया, कोई बात नहीं. That is not our mistake. However, if it is produced, if a region is converted into a desert by anthropogenic intervention, that certainly is our mistake. Okay? So desertification globally is produced by natural factors as well as by anthropogenic intervention. The moment you write the sentence, examiner will know that you are aware why UPSC is asking They are not asking because it is created by natural factors. They are asking you because there has been a negative human induced intervention in creation of deserts, especially in the world post industrial revolution. That is what we have done. We have done damage to the environment, and deserts are expanding rapidly. So, in the second sentence, you will throw light on the expansion of deserts. Okay? See how I am writing that. Expansion of deserts has been accelerated by, see the word, the usage of the word accelerated, that is very important. Expansion of desert has been accelerated by deforestation, which led to environment and livelihood destruction Again, see the choice of words, dear students. Okay, see what I have used. Expansion of deserts, first thing which will capture the imagination of the examiner in the second sentence. Expansion of deserts has been accelerated by deforestation, major issue. Deforestation which led to environment. This includes the destruction of floral and faunal species, and livelihood means if any kind of human settlement, even in the form of the forest tribes, were residing there, that is a livelihood destruction, because they will be turned homeless after we destruct the region. After cutting trees, certainly they will be rendered homeless, then they have to find a new home, or the government helps them to find a new home. But nonetheless, what has happened is they have to vacate this home. So, that is unfair, to the people who have been living there. So, environment and livelihood destruction will complete that, okay, will complete that. So, I hope these two sentences are clear. You see how I am writing the two sentences. So, introduction has to be like this. Introduction always should be powerful with the usage of very productive words which mean more than you write. They throw the light on the factors which are more important administratively. Okay? Certainly, when you write in the body of the essay, you will elaborate on every point, but here you need to throw light on those points which are the context. So, introduction is basically about understanding the context. Why UPSC has given you such topic? Understanding कि मुझे UPSC ये topic पे क्यों बात करवाना चाहता है? Why they want me to talk on this topic? That should come in the first few lines itself. Okay? I hope this is clear. Now, if this is clear, just a very quick conclusion. So, more than grabbing the words here, students, what is more important is grabbing the thought process with which I am producing such sentences. And if you can grab the thought process, you can produce such powerful introduction and conclusion anywhere, whether it's an answer or whether it's an essay. Okay? Now, the conclusion, see how I start. Okay? It is imperative to, imperative means important, to convene a multilateral dialogue to assess to assess the degree of rapidly expanding desertification. You see the first sentence, okay, pay attention. First sentence says it is imperative, means it is very important to convene a multilateral. Now, why multilateral? Because desertification is not an issue of one single country. For example, Africa, the North Africa belt of Egypt, Libya, Algeria, Morocco and some parts of Sudan, they are engulfed in the desertification, expanding desertification. Now, what is the desert there? What is the name of the desert there? It is the Sahara Desert, but it is expanding. So, it is not an issue which is unilateral, rather it is an issue which is spanning across multiple countries. That is why we need to convene, we need to organize a multilateral dialogue. First of all, the problem statement calls for understanding and assessing the degree of rapidly expanding desertification. So, powerful words: multilateral dialogue, assess the degree of rapidly expanding desertification. Okay? And I can add just few more words here, and I say desertification, degree of rapidly expanding desertification caused by incessant, which means continuous, without stopping, caused by incessant industrial and urban activities. इसीलिए कर रहे हैं ना, that's why we are doing deforestation, because we want to satisfy our materialistic requirements. Humans, since they have got the power of technology in their hand, what they have done, at the cost of damaging environment, they have just fulfilled their monetary requirements, they have just fulfilled their ambitions of growing in this world materialistically, but ignoring that our mother nature, if damaged once, will come out with lot of fury. It will not leave us, it will come out with lot of fury, and that fury we will not be able to take. Okay? So, we have to remember that we should always take care of the mother nature. We should not do unnecessary, unmindful destruction which is unjudicious in nature. We should always go for sustainable development, meaning that sustainable development is that kind of development wherein we are utilizing the resources at our disposal judicially, so that we are saving something for the future generations as well. Now, this term sustainable development is very powerful, and this was coined in the early 1990s, and since then it has gained lot of importance, and the countries are really following this, and they are developing anything now, whether it is an industry or an urban agglomeration, based on the concept of sustainable development. That is what is required. So, desertification के ऐसे topic को if you end with sustainable development, there is nothing beautiful than that. There is no good and logical ending to an essay if you are using the word sustainable development, the phrase sustainable development. Okay? Let us see here how we end the essay with sustainable development. Okay? Sustainable development globally allows for environment regeneration by implementing straight away. Implementing is required, that is the need of the hour, by implementing afforestation, comma, provision of irrigation facilities, etc. in the dry regions, in the regions which have been affected by desertification. So, sustainable development globally allows for environment regeneration. That is the powerful phrase here, environment regeneration. And how do we do environment regeneration? By some examples we can give to the examiner, by implementing afforestation or by providing irrigation facilities to drought prone or dry regions where there is acute lack of water. We can do that. So, two solutions you have provided, etc. you have written. The thought process will be communicated to the examiner. You see how we have written. It is imperative to convene a multilateral dialogue to assess the degree of rapidly expanding desertification caused by incessant, very powerful vocabulary, incessant industrial and urban activities. So, सबसे पहला step आप क्या लेंगे as an officer, and if you see that desertification has impacted multiple countries, the first step which you will take is assess the situation and what is the exact cause of such a situation. Then you give the solution. You say sustainable development globally allows for environment regeneration by implementing afforestation and provision of irrigation facilities in the affected areas. Okay? So, the last few words I will add here, in the affected areas. So, it is continuing from irrigation facilities. Okay? So, I will make a star here and this is another star. So, this is a continuation and then we are ending the conclusion right here, okay, in the affected areas. Have you not given a thought process to the examiner that see, this is how I think not only locally, I think globally, and I want to assess the situation, I know the cause, I know why it is happening, I know how to stop it. The moment you have written sustainable development, everything is covered, means that whether you are utilizing a mineral resource such as coal or iron ore, you will use in that amount which is required by you, you will not do the wastage. If you are using water, you will not waste water. If you are using plants and trees, you will use them judiciously so that your requirement is fulfilled, you are satisfied, but you are leaving something for the future generation as well. So, the moment you write sustainable development, it encompasses all the type of resources in this world, and the moment you give such a conclusion, the ending of your essay, don't you think the examiner will be impressed? I am sure the examiner will be very impressed and will be tempting to give you very high marks. Okay? I hope this is clear. Now, the 250 word answer, what is the technique? Simple technique of writing a 250 word answer is that, you have to do brainstorming, but you cannot follow all the steps which we have seen in the essay, okay, because you do not have much time. So, 250 word answer, how much time did you get? You get 11.25 minutes. Okay. So, what do you do? For first 1.25 minutes, okay, for first 1.25 minutes you do brainstorming as explained earlier, okay, as explained earlier. However, here you have to do a brainstorming which is theme plus content combined, because you do not have the luxury of time to do a theme based brainstorming separately and then the content based, that is not available, that time is not available. Okay. So, I think 1.25 minutes more than sufficient. Okay. So, here you are getting almost 75 seconds to do the brainstorming, and the kind of brainstorming you have to do is theme plus content, okay, together, combined. That is what we have to remember. Okay. But do not start your answer without brainstorming, because these 75 seconds will allow you to get 7 to 8 different points, and this is much better than writing only 2-3 points and repeating those points and making your answer monotonous. Remember, as I said earlier, the more diverse your answer is, the more the marks given by UPSC, okay, the more the marks given by UPSC. And this 1.25 minutes initially before writing the actual answer will do wonders for you by getting you 7 to 8 unique points, which will bring diversity in your answer and hence will bring more marks. Okay. So, that is number 1. Number 2, 150 word answer. Okay. How much time? If you remember, 6.75 minutes is all we have got. Okay. So, what we can do is for 3/4 of a minute, okay, that means for 45 seconds you can do brainstorming. Okay. So, 150 words, less amount of words, even if you have 4 to 5 unique points here, that is enough for you to write a good 150 word answer. Okay. 150 word answer, that means for the remaining 6 minutes you are actually writing the answer. But my humble request to all students is that please always get the importance of brainstorming, apply it in your daily lives, apply it in your answers. Never start to write any essay, any answer without giving it a thought. And brainstorming means that you are writing theme plus content in your rough space, and then you are translating those points in the rough space into your actual answer or the essay. Okay? So, I hope I have given you very good points today, and my humble request again, please apply and get succeeded. Please apply, become successful, and that is all what I want. On behalf of IQ Civils IAS Academy, I would love to end the answer writing session. I will meet you soon, very soon. Thank you and goodbye.